It's not every day you find a new show that you truly like, that you want to watch every week. Especially, you would think that the pandemic would make you just have a lot of shows that you want to watch, but that's not the case. There's only been a couple, but this is a show that to me, it's a mini series. It's not going to be on after this year, and that makes me sad. But I am really happy about this show and reviewing this show. And as always, when I do anything true crimes, I am with my partner in crime, and that is the one and only Elamar from the Lady in the Dimes podcast. Hello, Elamar. How are
Hey
you?
Tony, I'm good. I'm really good to be here and reviewing this show. It's a lot of fun. I can't wait.
I can't wait to. I said, maybe a lot of people haven't seen this show. If you haven't, you are missing out. Please check out Mare Of Easttown. It says a Sky exclusive, but it is on HBO Max. But before we get into it, let's start this off the right way. What's the deal, my people? You know it is Don Tony Toughline, and I'm back at you with another one. And you are listening to sexiest podcast in the world, the Lady and Dime podcast. And I am here with my co-host, as always, Elamar. How are you?
Tony, I'm always great when I'm here. I mean, what's my other answer? I'm. This is amazing. It's been a while though, right? And this is a good episode to jump into.
Yeah, we have not been able to get a podcast going for some time, but I do believe that this is great to come back to, especially what the theme of this show is and everything else, and the way they lay it down. So we'll do a quick recap to let you know where we go, and then we're gonna see at the end if we can pick out the killer. I think I got it. And something threw me off. Listen, last episode it built up real quick. Like the first episode was very character development, right? Learning about all the characters and everything else. But the second episode, it dropped a doozy right on you right from the beginning. Before we get into that, let's say what's up to the people that are here live on YouTube with us. We got Renee M. House Stark in the building with us. We have OTDA holding down the Gazette for the dime. Peter Griffith is with us. Muhammad is with us. Celebrity Bikini is up in this piece. We have a bunch of people in here rocking with us and stuff. Definitely subscribe to the Podbean podcast. If you want to hear this in audio version, it will be up there by tomorrow. So let's get right into it. Now, I told you about this. I told you about this right now. We got people saying Bernie coming in. It should just say, why doesn't her thing say Beef and Bernie? She should just have that as there. There's no need for the L. It should be Beef and Bernie. Everyone knows it. So,
or adding an emoji at the end of it if possible. Yeah,
something like that, right? Like someone eating a piece of beef. That's something like Bernie's saying right there, but the killer is Mayor's ex-husband. He was too interested. Now, we're going to talk about all this stuff going on, and that reveal was pretty big in the end and stuff like that. We got the beautiful. The co-host that is on that I should say co-host because I do the after dark, she's always there, right? I think that she's one of the co-hosts.
She is
right for the after dark,
and a gorgeous co-host too. Oh my goodness!
Without a shadow of a doubt, Red Lipstick Club. Go subscribe to her channel. She is rocking with us right now. We have a bunch of people, and now we're not going to get into who we thought did it. We're going to do a recap now. When I told you about this show. What were your expectations about it right off the bat?
Well, first of all, when I heard it's true crime, well, not true crime, it's a whodunit kind of thing. I'm like, yay, finally something I want to watch, and it was obviously week to week. So I'm a binge watcher. That was kind of like a relief for me. I was excited and looking at the cast. You sent me the trailer. I was like, oh my God, I'm so into this. Like I want to watch it now. So yeah, I was very excited, and it's not, my expectations are high for this because I want something good. Like you said in the beginning, I want something to watch and to be into. And this is definitely something I am into and I want to watch.
Yeah, I just think that, what it does and what I like about it is that they focus on small town America. Usually when in the movies and stuff, it's always big city stuff or, a small town that's like Texas or some type of like Western town or anything else like that. You know what I mean? But I just think that it's, the focus, and I think there are more small towns like this that are in
Mm-hmm.
the show than there are big cities. There are more people like this, and that's basically what it focuses on. It shows you that when you're living in small town USA, like you know everybody. Like your
Mm-hmm.
best friend's mother is the person who works at the deli, and the father is the electrician of the town or the plumber of the town, and then you got a cousin who's a cop,
Yeah.
and then someone else's brother is just. You just know everybody in the town is somehow connected. You know it. I've lived in small towns like this. How did you think that they did with the depiction of small towns? If you're familiar with small towns.
I thought I was from a small, I guess this is not a small town, a suburb of Chicago. I don't even know my neighbors. I know when they get up because I can hear their car and motorcycles in the morning on weekends. As far as the portrayal of it, I mean, first of all, actors, great. And then the way they do it, it's not, there's like no like glamour. Kate, I keep forgetting Winslet. Is it Kate Winslet? She can portray whatever she's in a role. She's doing it. She's doing such a great job. So I'm like in it. It's like real people. So far, nobody strikes me as not being good at whatever the role is. It is that they're supposed to play. I'm in it. Like nobody takes me out of it. They're doing a great job with the whole, zooming in, kind of like either in the morning, they show like in the morning kind of a scene from far away, kind of zooming into that area, and then they go into the lives, and they do. It must be a lot of with what do you call it? Like when the way they take exactly. I can't even. It's late. I can talk. The way they do it. You're like in it, you're doing it, you're like right there. So they're doing a great job, I think.
No doubt about it. I think they do the whole landscape that they show when they do show the landscape. I think they do a good job at showing it. And I think that when you're dealing with the people that you see in there, these are what people in small towns look like. Like not everybody is glamorous. Not everybody has makeup on every day. People go to Walmart in their pajamas. This is what they're getting when they're putting that stuff in there. And the lead actress in this is a beautiful woman.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful woman. But you could see how they took her down. They have no makeup on her at all most of the time. I mean, in the one scene when she goes out to dinner with the guy, you finally see her glam herself up a little bit. And I thought that was funny. Like she was looking through the lipstick and she's like, that's more realistic to what a lot of women have than actually all this glam whole thing.
Yeah, not the lipstick. Like I don't know. Maybe she. There's a lot behind the characters because she went through a lot. There's a lot of things that happen. So I'm assuming when a lot of things happen to the point of she can even take care of a lipstick for herself, and there's like hair sticking out of that's kind of gross. But it just shows that she has not used it in forever to the point of it getting completely messed up for her. So it's showing the real people and the real struggles, even though we don't actually know exactly. We kind of get an idea what's going on in her life with her son and all that background and her husband and new wife or fiance for him. So we know kind of, but those little things that they show us kind of make us feel the way she feels. This is her life.
And it's like also when you have someone like a small town life. Small town life is your ex buying a house right behind you. Like
exactly.
That's what it's like. You can't get away from anybody as long as you're in this town. You can't. If you're with somebody, you're gonna see that person with somebody else. There's no doubt about it. That is small town life. You'll see somebody if you break up with someone, they're gonna be with someone that within a matter of months, and they're going to be living in the house probably right down the block from you.
Yeah.
That happens all the time in small town New York. Now we talk about Mayor. The first episode is called what is it? Lady, what is she?
Lady Hawke.
Lady Hawke. And we find out that Mayor, and she's a detective, and they call her Lady Hawke because back in the day, there was a championship in a basketball game, and she hit the winning shot. And as she says in the show, anywhere else, this is not a big deal. But because it's a small town, it is a big deal. And they give them respect for winning that championship all these years later.
20-some years back,
And that is what small towns is. I know for a fact, I know people who won the Tri-Valley Championship. And these grown-ass men, 60 years old, are wearing that same jacket that they wore in high school with it on. And it kind of makes you see how sometimes people peak early in life, right? And I think that's where the connection between her and her boyfriend, not boyfriend, but the guy she's messing around with, the book
Mm-hmm.
writer, it seems like that's what their connection is, that he peaked early in life. He put out a hit book and never
Yes.
put out anything else after that. And she hit her winning shot. And she really didn't really amount to what that winning shot is. Would you say be as successful as you would think she would be?
Yeah.
That was the most success she's had in her life, is hitting that winning shot. So,
And she
I
never
think he
got
was
out,
really
right?
good.
She never got out of the town.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get stuck in
Mm-hmm.
small towns, and you stay in small towns for a long time. So about a year before the events of this show, Katie Bailey disappears, and the body was never found, and the case went nowhere. And now the mother, Dawn, who is someone who was on the basketball team with her, and that's the way it is out there. It's like
Mm-hmm.
everyone knows each other, and she's the one who works in the local like bodega and stuff. And Dawn goes and she starts giving interviews to the local news about how the police bungled the case, but she doesn't exactly say that it was Mare who messed this up, but she does imply that in a very kind of heavy way. Mare, for her part, is kind of like, I would say, more defensive than sympathetic.
Mm-hmm.
And she, as a cop, you would think she wouldn't, but she basically does some victim blaming, complaining to a boss about the girl, saying that she was, that she was known drug user and she had a history of prostitution, and she's probably lying somewhere in the bottom of Delaware River there. So that is really one of the backstories that we get from the opening scene, and it is important. Now, do you think that after seeing what we've seen in episode 2, we're just gonna bounce around and do this because it's too much, that the person who is the killer, whoever the killer is the killer of both people?
Actually, I gotta say, before I say anything, when I go into a show, I don't dissect it. That's why I like this idea that you already know kind of who it may be, and I'm like, I just want to see what's happening. I want to be like clueless. I'm like, oh, this is shiny. Oh, this is that. I want to be like, yeah. So I don't think about who. I mean, I do like, oh yeah, she could have done it. He could have done it. They could have done it. Everybody did it, kind of thing. I have that kind of approach, and I like it. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, I know it's them, because then I'm going to be disappointed. But you bring up a great point, because thinking about this guy, this author that came in, I was thinking maybe he did it, but then the murder happens. I'm like, he couldn't have done it, maybe potentially because he just got here. But would he have been here before? Kind of peeked in here, did what he did, come back after that. So I mean, know.
When she meets him, she does say to him when she meets him, you don't have any bodies buried
skeletons in your closet.
He goes, no, not yet, or something like that,
right?
So, there's a lot of people to choose from of who could have actually done it, but basically that's where it breaks down. We meet a lot of different characters from this show. We're gonna have to get into who could have possibly done this thing. We're gonna go right into it. I was gonna break that thing, but I really think we
I want to know.
Need to know who did it. Who could be the people on this list that could have basically done this murder and stuff. Let's try to go through some of these people and see if we can come to a coalition of who did it. So many people that it could be, and I think that's what makes it good, that there's so many people that it could be. I would say let's start with the number one. Let's go with Deacon Mark Burke. Deacon Mark Burke, from that. We learned during this quick conversation that we had between Deacon Mark and Father Dan that Erin used to belong to their church and even spent some time in Mark's youth group. So Erin is the girl who was murdered that they're looking for.
The newest one. The
newest one. And it was pretty bad what happened to her, the way they set her up. Now, I like now the way that she got killed. I like the way that not that she died, but the way they set it up, because you
Hmm.
see her struggles as a young mom in there, and her dad is a straight dick, right?
Yep.
That's what they put out there. That her dad is a
Hmm.
straight dick or whatever, and not truly supportive and everything else. But they show you the contrast of what she is as a young mom when before she gets murdered, because you see her taking care of her son. And then you see her go to meet this guy who she believes is a guy, and it's really just a setup for
Yeah,
her
it's a catfish, or yeah.
to be killed. But you see her go there on her bicycle, all right?
Hmm.
So I thought that was the contrast they were trying to show, that yes, she's a mother, but she's still a child. She's riding a bicycle
Yep.
to go meet somebody. So I think that the deacon could possibly be one of these people. All right? So I'm not saying it is the deacon, but I'm saying possibly could be the deacon. I think it sets up a reason. If she spent time with the church in Mark's youth group,
Hmm.
then it's a good chance that maybe, and we know that the church people are always suspicious.
All
And,
right.
and,
We know
and,
better now.
in this thing. So,
Yeah.
what do you think about the deacon? You think it possibly could? I mean, it could be anybody,
It is.
right?
It can be anybody. That's the exciting thing. But the dissecting of who could have done it, and then the reasons for it. I love that. So yeah, we see the way he kind of got sad about when he was not questioned, but when the priest or I don't know if it's a priest. I don't know what religion that is, but they kind of talk about it, and he looked really sad about it, not like you would be sad about, but maybe the sadness was because they could have done more. They could, because after the baby was born, because she's a teen mom,
Mm-hmm.
after the baby, she was attending that group while she was pregnant, but she never came back after. And he was like, oh yeah, we could have done more for her. But then people say a lot of stuff to cover up the bad things. So I'm like, oh, he might be covering up for her, because um I mean, a lot of young children there, and I guess the perversions are everywhere. That does not include or exclude the church. So it
Mm-hmm.
could have been there as well. Nothing is secret, actually, no matter what profession you have, because that's a profession too. It does not mean that if somebody's a priest that they're good. It doesn't mean that they're bad, but it doesn't excuse them from the suspect list just because they're wearing that stuff around their neck.
No doubt about it. I would say next on the list is Richard Ryan, who is the author. Richard, we know him as the
Mm-hmm.
one-hit wonder novelist who's new to town and guest lecturing at the nearby college.
Yep.
So he is the one who basically is the most outside of all the people that she knows. She doesn't know him, so that would automatically make me suspicious of him. Plus, he's a big Guy Pearce is a big name actor. He may
Mm-hmm.
not just come in just to play a side role
Yep.
as just the sometime the booty call.
Yep.
So what do you think of the chances that Richard Ryan could be the killer?
If they made him into a killer, like at the end, if it turns out that it's him, and this is a mini series, so we're gonna probably find out towards the end of this. Now, I don't know how many episodes we have, but I didn't check on that. But I remember him playing a good guy and a bad guy. He can do both, and if they use both of those, I guess, abilities of his to the fullest, where we can see him as just a regular, what seems like a very decent guy. I mean, he not the worst pickup line, I would say, at the bar for her, that he uses on Mare. Yeah, I kept thinking that Mare as in like but that's her name, very unusual name. I think I've never heard anybody being called that with that name. But like, so the bar scene, and then just sending her flowers just because, and then casually asking her to going out to some kind of event. But then the way he kind of like lets her stand there, like, just he knows she's there, and he kind of notices her, and she just basically leaves after whatever time. So it's kind of odd. Like, who would do that? Like, if
I mean, look, it seemed like he was eating the attention up, and I think that
yeah.
listen, I've been around like people who have done like one thing and are known for one thing. You know what I mean? Like who have like one big moment in their life. Like I know the guy who played the original Jason. Now the original Jason in Friday the 13th, he has like a 2-second scene. All he does is come out the water and grab the person at the end and pull him into the water off the boat. Because in the original Friday the 13th, it's the mother who's doing all the killing.
Yep.
Jason's not in it until that last basically post-credit scene. From that, and then when they started showing Jason, they hired a brand new actor who's really big to play him. So his scene is just that 3-second scene. And he goes around, you know, touring as the original Jason and makes money. And he's been using that for 40 years now. And goes to conventions and all that. So when people get this attention at places that they normally would not get every day, you know, I could see him. He was relishing it too much. And then he couldn't break away from to get towards Mare. And this other women were like, seem to be, I'm not going to say that they're more classier than Mare, but they seem to be more from the city type, you know, because you see her when she's in there and they serve her the appetizer.
The liver pate or something.
Yeah, she didn't want no.
No. The way she tucked it under the cup, I'm like, oh my god, that's gonna stink up soon. She like, if you tuck it under.
So no one's gonna know why it stinks. They're gonna be like, "What is that smell?"
Exactly.
And then eventually they're gonna dig in there and they're gonna see.
Why would she do that? Why is she? I was thinking, okay, what does she has? You know, she has something against the people there. Like, what's her deal with that? Like, why would you put a meat kind of pastry and tuck it under the cover or something? Like, that's just so bad. Like, no. But that was her attitude. I think she was upset already at that point.
Sterling says Guy Pearce seems like the guy. He even mentions he's seen Mare there before at the bar. So, you know, if it's him, you have two clues. You have that clue and you have the clue that she asked him right off the bat when she first, do you have bodies buried in there? It has to be someone. I think that the killings are related. I think it's related.
It would make sense, yes.
Somebody who would be able to do both, right? And another clue I think you got to get is the first person who passed away. She said that she was into drugs and prostitution. So it would have to be someone with some type of access to drugs or is trying to pick up a prostitute to bag her up and kill her. So it has to be something sexual in nature to these killings, I do believe. I think it has something to do with that. Now, when we found this girl's body, she was completely stripped. But her panties were on, but everything else was off. She had no socks on, no shoes on. Everything else was stripped off her body. So when we look at those things, it's definitely. I think they kept her panties on just because of the TV show. You know, they wanted to show the full shot of the body. So I think that's the reason why they did that.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. So I think that when it's dealing with that right there, I think it has to be someone who's sexual crime in nature. I think that's what it is, a sexual crime in nature, someone who would have access maybe to some type of drugs and someone who has the ability to pick up a prostitute. When you look at this guy who's playing the boyfriend, he fits that bill. He could definitely. We don't know what his book was about, right? What he actually wrote about.
I did not zoom in on it. No, she showed the book. I think there was something about. I just didn't pay attention to the book, though. Yeah, and they didn't say if the new victim was raped or anything. They did not reveal that yet, right? Because they just said that the preliminary just gave them the time, and they just swept for evidence around it. Around the scene, but not anything else. I wonder if there's if that's gonna. What if it actually turns out that she was not raped? I wonder, you know, if that's gonna obviously put like a little bit of a spin on everything. Because why would he kill her if there was no rape? Maybe she died before he got a chance to rape her. Cause she still had her underwear on. Again, I'm like saying like as if you know that's him already. But
she said when she found the body, the person who did it had to be extremely close, like right up on him. Right up on her, because we see, you know, her walk away. The girl, after she gets beat up, she walks off by herself, and then that's how. After that, she gets found. So I think it's obviously it's a possibility that it could be him. I'm not sure if it is him. It would be very obvious if they went that route and made him the killer. So I'm not sure, but I do think that he is definitely high on the suspect list. Next is Frank Sheenan, Mayor's ex-husband,
Yep.
and he was the subject of this bombshell reveal. It turns out that Dylan isn't really the father of Erin's baby. Her best friend Jess isn't sure who is, but she reveals that she thinks it might be Frank, who taught Erin in high school. And, no matter how it goes down for him in the end, he's going to have some problems.
Yeah, because it's just, his word against dead person's best friend, kind of like guessing. Yeah. And how can you protect yourself or go against, he said, she said, if she's dead. Oh, Tony disappeared? I think he's going to be too many buttons to press. There we go. Let me see if he, I think, yeah, let me see if he's okay. He probably just pressed the wrong button on it. But yeah, I'm just going to wait a couple moments for Tony to come back. Let me see if he messages anything about that. I hope he's not having technical difficulties. And in the meantime, Renee says, oh my gosh. I was wondering if there were issues with the connection or if you pressed the wrong button.
I pressed the wrong button. I was pressing the wrong button. Yeah. Sorry about that.
A lot of pictures to share. Yeah.
But yeah, so when we see him, she asks him specifically, did he know him? And he denies it. He's like, I don't really, he said he knew her from school.
One class or something.
To push the blame out to the father. Right after that, he did try to push the blame out specifically to her dad,
father,
saying that she had a bad home. Which says, how do you know she has a bad home? I mean, how do you know that? So let's go through it. Do you think that this guy is the baby's father? Let's start with that right there. Do you think he's the actual baby daddy?
Kind of. What is kind of against it is that her name is Erin, right? I keep forgetting her name. Erin, the one who was killed.
Yes, Erin.
Yeah. Okay. So Erin is very much hung up on her what we know as her baby daddy, like Dylan. Is that Dylan? Yeah, I need to know the names by this point. So she still kind of wants to get back with him in a way from what the messages we know that she was sending him. So I don't see that much of it as a possibility. I see potentially when a girl and she's such a sweet girl. Very pretty, such a sweet girl, or was. Oh, I guess there was an echo. And obviously her father, like we see, he drinks a lot and he's very mean to her. Almost, I don't know if he actually shook her or he just got really close to her face, but he was like right there, zero personal space for Anne, where he kind of like got in her face, like, is she gonna pay for the surgery, for the ear surgery for her baby? Like he was in her face. That's abuse. You don't have to be hit by somebody to to be abused, that for it to be called abuse. And she's going through a lot of emotional abuse at home. Obviously her dad is ticked off or really upset because the father, Dylan, is not picking up the responsibilities as he probably could do in other cases. The situation was different if Dylan wanted to be with Erin. So I see how Erin could be actually seeking out a father figure, somebody who's nice to her, somebody who maybe either cares or pretends to care for whatever reason they have. So it's always a possibility, that father figure, somebody who gives a damn about her, or pretends to, at least.
Yeah, I am gonna rule out Dylan, the boyfriend. I think I rule out all kids. I know people want to say that. I don't think it's going. I will go through some of the kids and some of the points, but I don't think it's a kid who's done this. I don't think it's any of the kids. It's an adult who's done this for the reasons that I gave earlier. That these are two people who've been murdered. One was a known prostitute and a known drug addict.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact, I think that it's a sexual crime in nature. For that reason, I think it's an adult who did this. And it's got to be someone who's able to overpower these people and get them in there. I mean, the first one, if you get high enough, I guess you don't have to overpower.
Right.
But I wouldn't see her falling for that at all. So, I don't see it being Dylan at all. I don't think that he would do it, even though Mare tries to put it on him and say, what would you, did you pay for the surgery? That could be a reason why she do it. She did put it on. But her ex-husband, and he just married Faye.
Is actually engaged to her.
Yeah, he's engaged to Faye. All these girls, my ex-girlfriend's name, Faye and Erin, both of them ex-girlfriends. All right, I don't even like hearing their names. But yeah, disengaged. We hear about these, especially when you deal with small towns. I know things happen in big cities too, but it's like more likely, I think, for things to happen in small towns because it's small towns and you see people and you could develop crushes on somebody because you see them all the time. So I think it's maybe easier, like your local teacher. You see him in the supermarket all the time. Like if you grow up in the city or stuff like that, you don't see your teachers only in school. Like it's a rare sighting to see your teacher outside the job. Like when you see him outside the job, you get shocked. But where I'm, we're out here now where I'm from, but where I lived in like Kansas, Harry and stuff, you see the teachers walking up the bike trail every day. You see them at the waterfalls barbecuing. You see everybody. So it's more of a chance for one of these kids to have a crush on the teacher and the teacher take advantage of a child because that's exactly what it would be because obviously she's a young child. It could be a situation like that. So I can't rule him out at all. But I think, I'm going to go to the fact that they gave this bombshell in episode 2 that steers me away from him doing it.
It's too easy. Like, oh, we got to kill her. And then, okay, that's too, there has to be that game if it's made well.
Yeah, because the baby, what would be his reason to kill him? Let's say the baby. No one thinks it's his baby. Everyone thinks it's the other kid's baby. That hasn't come out at all. So he would have no reason to kill. Like it wasn't like that was going to be revealed soon or anything else like that. Like someone came up to him and confronted him or did something like that. She was playing it off that it was Dylan's baby. Dylan was playing it off that it was his kid. So there was no repercussions for him. To have to go that route, you know what I mean? So I just don't think that they would come out with that soon for him to be the killer. So that's why I have to rule it out. People,
what do you think?
Huh?
Like what do you think? Like unless she wanted the money for the surgery, it was like almost $2,000 for that ear surgery. What if she was like, okay, I slept with him, and then maybe he's the daddy. So I'm going to get money for the baby because she knew she's kind of screwed at that moment. Nobody, like her father won't, like her actual father won't pay for the surgery. Dylan, her baby daddy, won't pay for the surgery. Nobody will pay for the surgery. So what if she like, okay, the baby needs the surgery. And even if he wasn't the father, what if she slept with him or they did something and she's like, okay, I need the money. I'm going to extort the money from him. Who knows? I mean, mothers are desperate too. They need money. What if, like I'm saying, like if they even like did something once, what if he like did something after school with her and it's like, well, I'm gonna, I need the money, I think it's your baby, I need the money for it, and then he like freaked out and just kind of did it in the spare. I don't know, just mothers can be desperate.
I just don't see him being threatened by the baby being his at all. I don't see them bringing that up at all. They just dropped it at the end. It wasn't like he was being extorted by her in any way that we can see. So I just don't see him having to have to kill her for that reason at all. So for that reason and the reason, I'm just going to go with the fact they dropped it too quick. Episode 2 and here's the killer. No, they're not going to do that. That's not the way it's going to go. So I can't go with him. I'm not ruling him out completely, but I'm saying I'm leaning away from him.
It would be too easy.
Next step I would think would be probably Father Dan Hastings, and that is Mayor's cousin and the local clergyman to Aaron's church.
Mm-hmm.
Every time, if you're watching a murder mystery and you see someone, rocking the priest collar, I think you have to always, think that the man could be up to something. You know what I mean? Has he done anything that is crazy at this particular time? I don't think so. But the fact that he is who he is makes me think that it's quite possible that maybe he is one of these people who has done it. What do you think about the preacher man?
I'm just wondering what what would be the reason for him to do that. But again, it may be crime of passion or something like that. Maybe there was a reason why she stopped coming to those group meetings at the church. Maybe there was a discussion. Oh, it was right after the baby, but not just after the baby. Maybe there were things happening during that. After those sessions, maybe there was a different reason why she didn't want to be there anymore.
Why are people sending me stuff when I'm busy? I think like this. As I said, I'm going along the lines that it's a sexual crime in nature. Priests could be, freaky like that. From what we know, they could be, not as desirable. Now, I can't really say because usually the priest is already married, right? That's what we usually see. Like in small town life, priest is usually married. The church pays for their house. They have a pretty nice house. They make a pretty good living just from the church. That's the way it is in small towns and stuff. So the fact that we don't see that, he's mayor's cousin. Something could be dirty and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And the whole thing is that I believe that the crimes are connected. I'm going on the connected fact that this person who did this did them both. And you could say maybe picking the preacher is too easy. It could be. We've seen the killer already. We have been introduced to the killer. It's not like it's going to be a new person that's just going to pop up and the killer has already been shown to us. And hints have already been given to us who this killer is. So I could see it being the preacher man, but I have no evidence that points to it at all. All right, that points to it. I would say next on the list would have to be Dawn Bailey. We know Dawn Bailey is the teammate of Mayor whose daughter went missing and unsolved a year ago. Listen. Could she be mad, so mad that her daughter passed away that she goes out there and kills somebody else? And if she was going to do something like that, I would say maybe she did that to generate more attention to what's going on with further hopes of actually someone doing something for her child. Like maybe that, if I kill somebody else, it brings attention here and maybe somehow we could find my baby too. What do you think about her? Now she does have, unless she has cancer, it seems like. Right?
Yes, she's going through the treatment.
So when you do that, maybe she has nothing to lose anymore, and she's like the guy who did Saw, who became a serial killer because he had a life-ending cancer. So he was like, you know what, I'm gonna take people out. So what do you think about her?
I don't think she would have done it just because from the last episode, when she's, I think, working at some kind of gas station. I think some mayor stopped to get something. And then there's this dad of Dylan's girlfriend who attacked Aaron the night she was killed. So that suspect's father's badgering, like just completely physically, like again, zero space. What's up with the people in small town? Like I need at least enough so I can stick my hand out. I need that much space. That's personal space. And he's like right next to her, like almost in her face. So Dawn, that's her name, right? The mother. Okay. So Dawn, as a clerk at that gas station, she actually tells that father to leave Mare alone. So she steps in just by seeing that. And I'm thinking, I guess if she really wanted to, like, if she was a cruel person, she would enjoy Mare being harassed like that. But she actually stepped into, like, oh, to me, she looked uncomfortable in that situation. She wanted Mare to just be left alone. So I don't know but again, mothers may do crazy things for their children or in memory of their children. So
This episode
yeah.
was called Fathers, and we've seen a bunch of crazy fathers in this episode,
Yeah.
all go nutso in here. And this is what we're
Yeah.
talking about. Is Tony was his daughter that beat up the child and was arrested by Mare in their pizza place, a restaurant / pizza place.
Yep.
And she's mad that Mare did that, and he's followed her home, and then he took the milk and threw it through the glass.
Yep.
Now, would milk shatter a glass window like that? I don't know. He would have had to be
a gallon,
awful,
right?
Yeah, he had to be awful close.
Oh yeah.
To throw that through that window, and then make it all the way to his car and pull that, because his car was far away. And then he did it in the pizza truck. Why would you do that to an officer of the law, the local detective, the cop, in your pizza truck that has your number?
Yes,
right.
It's assault.
It's could he be? I don't know. Could
Small town.
Obviously everyone's a suspect, so he could also be a suspect, but we haven't seen anything yet. About that, but definitely he could be a suspect. All right, we'll go into. I don't think it's that lady. I don't think that she would do it. You know what I mean? All right, Mare's daughter. What's her name? Sheenan.
Sheenan, yeah, interesting.
Yeah. All right, now Mare's daughter. Could she have done it? I mean, she saved the girl, and then she watched the girl walk away.
Yeah.
And that's what we know that she did. I don't see the motive of her killing this girl. I don't see why. We haven't seen anything to make me personally believe that she would have a reason to do it. Because it's always what is a motive and opportunity. You have to have those two things, right? Or you're just not gonna. You have to have a motive to do it, and you have to have the opportunity to do it. Does she have does she have it? Yes, she does have it. The opportunity. Does she have the motive? Renee Emmerhout Stark says that if she found out that Erin slept with her father, maybe she confronted her and it turned physical. We don't know that anyone knew that until we got introduced to that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can't. I mean, that's very hypothetical.
And we don't know how long it's been since Mare and Frank were separated or divorced. It was after, because we got to add to that Mare's son committed suicide at some point, and he must have been. Mare is also a grandma, right? Her son before dying had a baby, and the baby's like 4 years old. So we don't know when anything could have been going on between Frank and Erin. For anybody, what's her name? The daughter, Mare's daughter, to see it. It must have been Sheenan. Yeah. So it's kind of the timelines. If they add up, it doesn't seem like Frank and.
So when the girl gave the information about the father, having the daughter, it does not. It seemed like that's the first time she said it. Like she was very devastated about saying it. It seemed like she did not want. It seems like she didn't want to say it, and I was given a secret. She told me not to, and she said that she suspected. So the girl didn't come to her and say, "He is the father of my baby." That's her suspicion that the baby, because she said specifically the girl didn't say it.
But wasn't there a secret? She said that there was a secret she didn't want me to tell. Maybe that she was just messing around with Frank, but not, that she actually
maybe she knew about messing around with Frank, and it's her suspicion that it's Frank's baby. She didn't say the girl told her it was Frank's baby or anything else like that, and she's not best friends with Mare's daughter, this girl. She's best friends with the girl who died. And this is the one she promised to tell the secret to. So if she was best friends with Mare's daughter, you could say it. Maybe she blabbed it. But I would think that they would have had, if that was the case and she was really mad about her, why would she save her when she was getting beat up? She
Mm.
seen specifically
True.
come up there, seen when she had seen her getting beat up, and she came to her rescue and saved her.
Mm. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think she's physically strong enough to kill both girls. I do believe that it's related, me personally, and I do think it's a sexual crime in nature.
Hmm.
That's why I said I have to rule out all. I have to rule out all children. I don't think it's a child who did this.
And all women, maybe at that point, maybe
Yeah, I would
possibly.
rule out women and I would rule out children myself. I don't see them doing it and stuff like that. I think that if there was a if she did do it and the reason why she did it was that girl was messing around with her father,
Mm-hmm.
you would have to have they would have had to give you a hint of that before that happened. I think they would have had to reveal something that she knew that already. Now, maybe maybe later on they will reveal that somehow she did it. I'm gonna rule her out, but I'm not telling y'all to. I want everyone's got the right to know what you think and everything. And when we're done, we're gonna I'm gonna ask everyone here live after all the discussion that we have, who do you think did it? I'm ruling her out. Elamar, how are you gonna do it with her?
Um, I mean, if it's sexual, I mean, she is shown to be either lesbian or bi because she was sleeping with. We
Mm-hmm.
show her sleeping with another girl.
Mm-hmm.
But again, sexual crimes are not about, like it was mentioned before, not about sex. They're about dominance. So you don't have to be into whoever you degrade like that. Um, but that's that. Well, why would she do the other person? Why would she kill the other person? I don't see that. And I think they're
It's
related.
related.
So
How
yeah,
would she have killed the other girl who's on drugs
yeah.
and a prostitute? What connection with it?
And
If they
getting rid
were
of the body
together,
too, right?
huh?
And getting rid of the body because the other body was never found. So
The other
it
body
just,
was not
yeah,
found, and I think that it has to be related because they wouldn't bring it up. That
yeah,
that that's what they opened the show with, was this
yep.
disappearance of this girl, and now we have another dead girl. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that the fact that they have two dead girls, they're saying that somehow they're connected. That's why they're saying it. So I'm not going to say it's her. I can't say it's her, but I'm ruling her out. But if you don't, you don't have to. Next up would be Dylan and Brianna, Aaron's ex-boyfriend and his new girlfriend. I mean, I think you could probably put them together. If they were going to do it, they would do it together. Brianna is very violent, but when
Mm-hmm.
people were getting questioned, they were like, "Oh, her bark is bigger than her
Yeah.
bite." But they specifically said that. And I think they said that specifically to make you think that she would not do something like that, even though we've seen her get violent and punch the girl in the face. That really maybe that was showing off type situation,
Yeah.
that she was showing off in front of her new boyfriend and everything and all that. In that situation, I think it was more like that. But I
Yeah.
think they definitely put that out there. People are like, man, this Frank is not attractive at all.
It's the father figure.
This is what happens. I'm telling you, in small town life, when you're around somebody enough, you find them attractive. There are a lot of women, like when you grow up with someone, when you in small town life, when you grow up with someone, you see that person from kindergarten all the way to high school, you can
To
fall in
grow on
love with
you.
that person as a child all the way straight up. You
Mm.
know what I mean? And be in love with that person for your whole life because that's who you loved since you were in first, second grade, and you love them all the way through high school. That's small town life. So it's easy to develop a crush on someone. They don't have to be good looking. There's millions of people out there who ain't good looking, and you see them with these people like, how did that happen? That's because they fell in love with that person they were in sixth grade. And that was
Mm.
the love of their life. And he was the big man
Yeah.
on the football team at the time. And he was this and he was that. Or he was in the band. He was in the local band. And he was something in his time. You know what I mean? It's always
Yeah.
something like that. So looks really don't have nothing to do with it. As Elamar said, father figures. Or she had a shitty father.
Oh yeah.
Shitty father. So when you have a shitty father like that, you could look to another man, older man, because of that father dilemma and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You hear it all the time. And LML could tell you in her practice, I'm sure she's dealt with young girls who date older men because they did not have good relationships with their father.
Exactly. Exactly. So any attention, they just soak it up like that. She was lured into the forest, over to the woods, catfished into apparently meeting some guy completely from somewhere else. She was happy to meet him, and she loved the attention, and all the right words were said, and she just was completely um, head over heels for him.
Mhm.
So exactly, she was not getting that from her father. She was not getting it from her baby daddy. Like, and she wanted him too. Like, she
Mhm.
was, maybe he wasn't her baby's father, but she wanted him to be, because she was, um either attracted to him or wanted to just be with him, versus maybe having that, just messing around with Frank. But she saw him as a father to her, which kind of messed up. But then actually wanting to be with Dylan and telling Dylan that this is his baby.
Exactly. So it definitely. I mean, I think I understand. I'm taking out both kids. I'm taking
Mm.
out the kids. Obviously, we see him, shitting his pants when her father pulls up,
Mm-hmm.
put the gun on him.
Oh, and he's shot too,
Was
right?
he shot? Do you believe he got shot and killed him?
That would be too much.
We don't know because
My
it
goodness.
seems like he seems like he hit him, and we seen the
Yeah, a
body
couple
go down.
times.
We've seen the body go down, but we don't know for sure that he was hit. I mean, it seems like it, but it could have just been
Yeah.
him shooting and the guy just drops on the floor scared
Yeah.
to death. So and
Hmm.
his parents told him, "Don't go outside. What are you going outside for?"
Unless he killed him actually, or wounded him, to put him in the hospital, and then he's gonna be the main suspect. Like, but then again, he did it from anger at the guy, so maybe that's gonna, it's gonna exclude him, meaning the father is gonna exclude Aaron's father from being, because Mayor does ask him where you've been, like, where were you last night, and he's like, I've been here all night. Like, he
Yeah,
took a pause.
we will talk
Yeah.
about him when we get to him. We're going to get to him and talk about him
Yeah.
whether he did it because he's definitely on suspect list. I'm going to call the next person on the suspect list the peeping Tom.
Oh, we
Yeah,
we don't know who that is, right? Kind of.
we have no idea who it is. We just
Yeah.
know that he looks like a ferret.
That's a great ferret. Who over there looks like a ferret? What's a ferret? Like, what makes somebody look like a ferret? It's just.
Yeah,
uh,
it's a ferret is did I drop off again? No.
no,
All
you're
right.
here. You're
All
here.
right. Good. Jesus.
I may have to go off screen. I need to plug in my laptop. I noticed that he's gonna die in a second, so I'm listening, but I'll be right back. But
All
I'm
right.
listening. Mhm.
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
ferret guy, the ferret man could have done this situation. We don't know exactly if it's the ferret man, but it could be this. I mean, they brought him up for a reason. What we know about him is that he's been lurking around, and Mayor definitely Mayor scared him off at the one time when she did. So, but we don't know if it is the ferret man or anything like that. Quite possibly could be him. Uh, I, I, I don't know. If it is him. That would just be we haven't seen him yet, and I truly believe that whoever this person is, we've seen him. Now, listen, the guy who wrote the book, I guess, could be described as a ferret. I think that Mayor's booty call, if people seen him at a distance, I think people may describe his looks as a ferret looking. So it could be the guy who wrote the book. It could be him. You know what I mean? A ferret is like a skinny person, So I think that quite possibly, it's a good chance that if he's the closest thing I see looking like a ferret. But would he be lurking around doing or walking or doing that? I don't know if he would be. So yeah, I was saying that Mayor's booty call guy,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe he
He
could be
does kind of look like a ferret, right?
right. I think he definitely is ferret
Yep.
looking. I would describe him as that ferret. You know what I
You're
mean?
right. Yeah. Very, very tall, very slender. his hair is kind of like to his shoulder,
Yep.
gray, kind of
And
messy
slick
look,
back.
very, yeah, face very like thin. Huh.
And if he had a hood up with that
Yeah.
face, he could definitely be passed for a ferret. He could be the ferret man.
Ferret man. Oh, Muhammad. That's funny. What are more important than water? Sorry. Chat is funny too. Yeah, so I was just wondering like what I need to look into what his book is about. Like what is that thing? It was made into a show, he says, and I forgot.
Mhm.
Like what show, what was it about, whoever played that show. So it was made into something. It must have been exciting. If it's like a murder mystery, maybe, he was trying to, plan his next book,
Yeah,
like getting like,
maybe.
okay, what can I do to make my next book better? I need to or live it to make it real so I can write about something real. Who
Could
knows?
be. I 100%. Someone who peaked early in life, was a
Yeah.
one-hit wonder, could be searching for that next mega hit.
Yeah.
I mean, that brings us real quick to Kenny McKinnon, who was Aaron's dad. I mean, he in the beginning seemed like a pretty obvious suspect right off the
Mm.
bat, but the scene with him when he found out that his daughter was killed,
Yep.
even though he was an asshole. I don't know if he could have faked grief like that. And I will say the actor who played that did a marvelous job playing that role of. He really
Mm-hmm.
looked like I would think that that's how somebody would act.
Mm.
To if their child start breaking,
Yeah.
especially small, get away from me, get away from me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And his cousins over there and everything else. And I think, and the fact that he went after this guy with the gun
Mm-hmm.
and put the gun to him makes me think
To
that
Dylan, yeah.
why would he go after Dylan and do that whole thing with Dylan if he did it?
Yeah. I mean, at some point I was thinking, okay, he could have taken him to the woods to show other people that he was distraught and he wanted to, hurt who he thought was a suspect to get the blame off of himself. But then again, I'm thinking, okay, so wait, like if he was really, it was crime of passion, from like the Aaron's father, then maybe he should have like beaten him to confess or threaten him to elicit confession. But again, if he's sure, he thinks he's sure about, who that Dylan killed Aaron, he doesn't need confession. He knows, he
Mhm.
knows that it's Dylan. So he just wants to punish him. That kind of like, makes him, for me, kind of not the suspect at that point. Not as much of a suspect as before.
Yeah, I'm taking him 100% off the
Mm.
list. I don't think he did it. I think he may go to jail for murdering this kid. If he didn't murder this kid, he'll go to jail for that. But I don't think he did it. And as I said,
Yeah.
He's a dick to his daughter and everything else.
Mhm.
But I don't know. In small towns, there's just people who are just dicks like him. But it seemed like he did love his daughter, and I think he may have been. Renee says he's my first suspect, but I think he may have been everyone's first suspect because he was
Mhm.
such a dick. But I think that I can't say that it's him. I definitely have to take him 100% off the list. I don't think it's him. I would think that probably. I mean, we could go through a bunch more people if we want, but I think the next last person that you could actually see is Freddie Hanlon. Obviously, he's the local junkie who was caught robbing his sister's house and then gets
Yep.
sent to the local shelter for the night. If he's in the shelter, he could have left the shelter. He could have ran into Erin that night. If he's in a shelter and he's a drug addict, as I said before, I think that the person is definitely who killed the other girl. She was a drug addict. It could be, it would be a connection there, and he could be hanging out with prostitution too. I thought that it was very telling when that his sister came in there and said, I just want him to die already, just get it over with. And I think that a lot of people, the fact that they said that, I think a lot of people who deal with family members who are addicted to drugs and see them go that route and think that they have no chance of ever coming back from it and like slowly killing themselves, that feel that way. I think a lot of people, I mean, it's a sad way to feel, and it's very unfortunate, but I do think a lot of people do feel that way.
And when we see in the first, I think that's the first episode when, and I don't know his name, that the guy who was in a shelter for the night, when he breaks into his sister's
Yeah, that's
house, he
Freddie.
Freddie. Freddie, okay. So when Freddie breaks into his sister's house, it's like there's glass. At least I remember seeing glass. Things are everywhere. So he stole stuff from her. Not only stole, like, he didn't just go there and took something. He got there. He destroyed stuff trying to get something. He made a mess, and he is not afraid to steal from his own sister, to get money for whatever his next hit is. So, and I'm assuming people, when they're faced with the cravings or whatever, they just want something. They don't care what they do. They just want it. They want it. So maybe, I don't know why though. Like, why he would do that to Erin. I mean, she definitely didn't have any money.
No.
And
it wouldn't be for the money. It would be a rape thing if he did it. It would have to be something dealing with like opportunity. I see this chick by herself, and that's what would it be. People asking the question, where's Erin's bicycle? I think her bicycle gets thrown into the river off the bridge. In the trailer, you see that happen. You see the bicycle get thrown out. They haven't done it yet. It hasn't hit there. But you see that the bicycle definitely gets thrown off off the bridge into the river.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if the person who has the bike is the same person, or because anyone can have the bike. Like the people who beat her up could have took the bike after they beat her up because she left it, and now they're in possession of the bike, and then they're just like, let's get rid of it, because people are going to start thinking that that we had something to do with this.
And at first I thought maybe she jumped, or not jumped, but tried to get away from somebody, or maybe was pushed. But the bridge was way too high for her to land and walk away, and definitely too far from her to just land down in the river. I don't see her falling from that height and being, unless we get the report from the coroner, first of all, if she was raped, what are her injuries, if she could have walked away, fallen or run to be running from somebody, because there is a bridge for some, not just, I'm assuming, I'm thinking, it's pretty view besides the dead body, obviously, but you have the little stream, you have like a little bit of a grassy area, trees on the side, and up towards the top of the screen, you could see the bridge. And I'm thinking, okay, would she have fallen? Would she have been pushed? Would she walk away from that? Can you actually walk that distance? Your legs would be broken. Maybe she crawled. Maybe she just died over there, just kind of laid there by the water. So I wonder what the next episode will show us or tell us about her.
It's funny that we see in like the first position that we see her in when the first starts showing her laying down.
Yeah,
is the exact same position she was in when she died. If you look at
it, on the bed,
body, she's in that exact same position. So
I did not catch that. That is very strong. The imagery over there is really strong.
Yeah. So
That's
when dealing with Freddie, as I said, if it was Freddie, I think that's an obvious one too. Oh, he didn't seem violent. Like, man went in there with no weapon drawn, no nothing. She fucked up her leg, and that she fucked up her foot for a long time. I mean, so she's still limping.
She's limping, yeah.
But she went in there. The other cop tried to pull the gun, and she was like, "No, put that away, put that away." So
it's ready.
Felt no fear, towards him. You know what I mean? Like she felt like she didn't have to be afraid of him in any way. Like, you know what I mean? So for that reason, it makes me think that it's not him. And I think, have the drug addict guy be it is very cliche. And I don't think that, and I'm going to go to the story writer's position. I don't think that they're going to have one of the only black characters in the show be the killer.
Right.
I don't think that in this climate and everything else. I don't think.
Yeah, that would be kind of not.
I don't think that they're going to push that narrative that the black drug addict guy is the guy.
It would not be complex enough. It would be just kind of. Yeah, it would be not complex enough. First, second of all, that would not be complex enough. And then also, it would, like, what he did it because he was out of drugs, and he actually. I'm thinking, okay, at that point he was wanted to buy something with whatever he stole. He didn't buy it. He didn't sell it. He didn't sell that thing, so he didn't get the money for whatever drugs he's doing. So I don't think a person who is on drugs, his first thought is to get laid. I'm thinking the first thought is to get that drug, and then when he feels good, then get laid. I'm thinking that would be the thing. And since he was caught, the stuff was taken away from him, so he didn't have any money to buy anything with. He was barely surviving by being in that shelter, craving whatever he was craving. I don't think he would be going out having enough energy and that drive to, okay, I'm gonna get some.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. And there's a fact that Mare wasn't afraid of him at all. I think that's the proof that we need that he's not violent at all. I think that's why they showed it, and that's why they had the cop when he tried to pull a gun on him. She said, "No, you don't need that." Yeah. I think that's what they were trying to show, that he's not violent. He's just destructive to himself.
And then there was a comment here about redressing, meaning putting underwear back on her. There's also this thing like if there was a crime of maybe not just passion, but if the whoever kills or attacks the victim or the dead person at that point, I don't think it's very like a far-fetched thing to put the clothes back on, because the crime, like, it reminds me of, what was it, Broadchurch. I don't want to reveal stuff, but somebody cared for that person who was killed, also a child. But I can see how somebody, after committing a crime, they want to like make the body look decent, not to like, oh my gosh, they're gonna think it's me, but they don't want somebody who, if there's an accident, I'm assuming, I don't know, maybe it didn't look like an accident though, because there were like scars on her face, might have been from the fall, to put the underwear back on so she's not revealed like that, so she's not embarrassed like that for people to find her, or uncovered like that. And when Mare actually, I keep forgetting Dylan's new girlfriend, she actually wants to embarrass her, to arrest her in front of everybody. That's embarrassing, right? That there's an embarrassment in public to be talked to like that.
She said why she does. She said she deserves to get embarrassed because she beat up a girl who got killed.
Yeah.
So that's why she wanted to embarrass her.
So I'm just thinking it's possible for the killer, if there was somebody who actually cared about her, and there must have been injuries in the fight, a crime of passion, they would cover up the body, because yes, they killed her, but they do care enough to cover her up in that twisted mind.
When you're doing, I think that, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. I think that it's the directors, they wanted to show a full body shot,
but without that area.
That's why they kept the pants on her. Now, could he have done something to her and just pulled them to the side? You don't have to take them off to actually do it. You pull them to the side if you want to. But I think the real reason why they were on is because they wanted to show her full body in that position. I don't think they were going to show her butt naked.
Especially minor too, right? Kind of. And she was very, her skin was very, very white. So they did a lot of, actually, I didn't even notice. I mean, I assumed she was naked, but I didn't see any body parts at all, breasts, or because I was watching on a big screen too. But the way they made it look, I think they showed it early in the morning, so the light was very, very white, very bright light, and her skin was very white. So the way they did the shot kind of did not zoom in on any parts. They did not I don't think they did. At least if they did, I must have missed it. But they made it very the light was very much spread out over there.
And I think that if you're dealing with someone who's basically posing bodies, and that's what that would be, like posing them and doing things like that, then you're dealing with a serial killer. Because that's something usually straight serial killers do. This is just someone who just killed someone. And I think if it was a serial killer, then we would see, I think both crimes are related. We would have found that body. Because usually serial killers, a lot of them if they're going to pose the body, then they want you to find the body. They want the attention. They don't want to hide her. It's two types. So, a lot of them, some, like, John Wayne Gacy, he hid the bodies in the crawl space and did everything. He didn't want them found.
There's pride in that
But
too
there's
for
some of
them.
them who you want stuff found because they
Yeah.
like the cat and mouse thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
And if he posed that girl down there like that, then he would have posed the first victim too. And the fact the first
Mm-hmm.
victim is gone, you can't find the first victim, makes me think that maybe it's not there. So Renee says it's further proof that the first murder is not connected. I think that it is. I think that's the only reason why they brought it up.
What if the author kind of like, took her since she was into prostitution, the first girl, the first victim, and he was there in town. Maybe he took her with. Maybe they're not expanding their search far enough. Who knows? I forgot where he's from, where exactly he is from, if he's from far away, how he got there. Hopefully there's going to be kind of hinted more hints to that than just this. Hopefully they will give us more hints, not just going to mislead us for the rest of the episodes.
Yeah, no, it seems like they're building really fast because I don't think they have that many episodes. I think it's 7 episodes, so I think it's building really fast. And Richard Cheney says that the killer could be escalating. Yes, that does happen. You know what I mean? That does happen. And as AK says, its connection is small. The connection is small, but the whole thing I will say about showing this in the small town setting, from what I said earlier, is the reason why it's a small town is that everyone knows everybody and everyone is connected. So I think that when you have that setting that they're putting it in a town that everyone's connected, they're telling you that this first thing is connected to the second thing because everyone is connected. And not what they're trying to do. That's what they're trying to show you. They're trying to show you that, your best friend is the local cop, and then the next cousin is the preacher, and your uncle is a carpenter. Yeah. And everyone's related. Everyone knows everyone. You grew up.
It's like in our face. Yeah.
So I think that the reason why they have it in this setting is to show you that everything is connected. And that these two things are connected. That's why that's the first thing they brought up was this. They didn't have to bring that up. They didn't have to bring up that kid. They didn't have to bring that conflict up in her life about her not solving this case. Unless somehow it's all connected in the end. Yeah. And and this is how somehow when she solves this case, she'll actually solve the other case too. It's going to get her closure for both things in her life when this is all said and done. Now, listen, Mare could be a suspect. Let's not rule Mare. Right. I'm not going to rule Mare out of this situation. Yeah. Well, could it be her? Listen, her son committed suicide. Why did her son commit suicide? That's what you have to ask. Yeah. What was it that caused her son to commit suicide? Was she covering for her son? Did her son kill the first girl? Was that her son that killed the first girl? And that's why he committed suicide, because he couldn't live with the fact that he killed it. And she, as a cop, covered the body. She would be able to make the body disappear. She would be able to do all that if she had to do that to save her own son, to save her son's life, who just had her grandbaby. If that's the case, then Mare didn't kill this girl. You know what I mean? It could be something, but I don't see why Mare would kill this girl. She was home that night when she got the call. So it doesn't seem like she would kill the girl. But the first chick, I could definitely see it. I think they're connected, but I could definitely see it somehow being connected with the situation that can be on there.
And she kind of does have that alibi. She was with, but that's the thing. She was with what's the name of the author? I keep forgetting the. Guy Pearce, the guy that she hooked up with. So they were together. They had they had sex that night right after the bar scene, and right after that she came back home around 3. So she was with him. From what we see, she was with him.
Richard Ryan.
Yes, so Richard and Mare were together around that time. And I don't see, unless they're working together, but I don't see that right now yet. I don't see that as something happening.
I'm putting it out there. If it was going to be anyone, it would be the first chick. And the only way I could see that is if the son did it somehow. She covered for the son. That's why the body is gone. That's what it is. And I could see her, trying to do that, and then the son couldn't take it, and he kills himself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get the reason why he committed suicide. They just didn't throw that out there for no reason. They put that out there, and you know how it affected her when that girl said that to her. It shook her in the interrogation room. Like she got physically shook by it when that was said.
Yeah.
And then you got the other girl trying to take the baby from her, so
her grandson.
Got that dilemma she's gonna have to deal with and stuff. And I don't know the deal, but listen, the mother always is gonna win the baby in the end. So you had to, and she suspected it because she said, did she say anything about the baby? Did you say anything about the baby?
Right. Especially because she's getting clean now, right? She was in a recovery.
Like, no, she didn't say nothing, liar.
Isn't that? I guess she was trying to spare Mare from because she's like, oh, she's under enough stress. It's like once you can handle, you can judge and juggle your stresses. But if you don't know, then it's like extra burden. You don't put your resources to where they should go. And the great grandma should have said something, or Mare's mother should have said something to Mare about it. Not spare her, like, oh, I'm going to be quiet, not say anything to her. And then boom, she gets the letter. She finds out anyway. Like she found out about Frank's engagement, right? to Faye, like last minute. Poor Mare. I mean, no wonder she's like, oh, God, I don't give a damn anymore. Like she doesn't care. We can see that in her face. Such a great actress, great acting in that role.
Great acting all around. All right, we're gonna wrap this up in a second. So what I would like everybody to do every week, we'll be back next week, same time. To do the next episode. At the end, we're gonna see how it changes throughout these episodes. Who do you think, as of right now, who are you calling to do the murder? Put it in the comment section. We're gonna go through it. All right, Elamar, if you had to pick one person now,
I don't want to.
Every week you can do it. So every week you have to pick right now.
Richard. I'm gonna say Richard because I want to see him play a bad guy because I see the little bits and pieces of what he can do and what he's there for a reason. I kind of want it to be him because Mare like, oh yeah, I found this great guy. My life is shit, but I found this great guy. He's great. He actually wants me with all my messes, and then he turns out to be this a-hole, complete bad person. It would be nice to see him as. I would like to see him as. I'm awful to say that, but I would like to see him as the one who done it.
Yeah, I would. I would have to lean towards Richard right now. I mean, it seems too obvious that it would be him, though. Yeah. But when you look at the ferret and everything else, he does look like a ferret at best. And
he's definitely, into them ladies. I mean, nothing against people who do like hookups like that. They're all adults, but he was like right there. He wanted that, and he got it. Good for him. Good for her. Yeah.
We got Celebrity Bikini saying the mayor. We got mayor. We got ladies. We got Renee of House M saying Renee M of House Stark. Sorry, saying priest. Richard saying father. Dan Hastings. You know what I mean? We see. AK don't want to play the game. All we're doing is as of right now with the information.
I just want Richard to be it.
That's it. Sterling says so far it's Richard's not so obvious but suspicious, unlike the other. Richard's got to be the prime number one guy, I think. If you have to pick, the only thing would be if they are connected. Was he there to do the other one? That would be it. You know what I mean? That would be the way it is and stuff. So
the timeline,
that is just what it. But it is what it is. All right, that is what people have said. Elamar, as always, thank you for joining me on our podcast. We had a great time as always. We'll be back next week with another episode of Mare of Easttown, and we will see who people think it is next week too. We'll go every week, and it may change from week to week, and we'll see if this could be someone gets eliminated, someone gets added. And
or shots.
And we'll figure this out. Thank you, everybody who came to watch. I didn't even think that we had up to 50 people in here. Nice. I didn't think we actually would have that many.
It's a great
show.
Know
that show is that. But I don't know if people know about it.
Well, now they do. Oh, well, here.
Hopefully,
people. Spread the word, people. Let people know.
Hopefully. And I'll be back on Wednesday with the Usual Suspect podcast. I think Charlie of Westeros may be joining us on that podcast. We're going to talk about the Night King and everything else and stuff like that. So if you like the way we do this, please thumbs up this, spread this across the realm, and also subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace.
And stay sexy.